focus on your future plan.
I sit down in the corner, they listening. Me neighbor and she granddaughter discussing. She say with all of my grand, you are my favorite one. Cause you is the daughter of my only son. And what I say you may not want to hear, but I say it to you cause I really care. My father working hard for little money, trying his best to make it somebody. So I want to grab everything in school, and don't disappoint him to be no fool. I want you to open up your eyes and see the amount of madness in society. So I want you to take these lessons from grandma, and don't you fret. Take these lessons from grandma, you would not regret. Take these lessons from grandma. I'm telling you, you know the doctors and lawyers of today work very hard yesterday. You know the teachers and nurses of today work very hard yesterday. I want you to look and listen carefully with what's going on around the country. AIDS and unwanted pregnancy affecting the youth quite seriously. Some reaching from 5 and drop out of school just because they ignore set golden rule. Abstain if you can, and if you insist for you some protection. The time is going very fast, I know, but still the time would not leave you. So if you take your time and settle down in life, in time to come you'll be a gentleman wife. So I beg you, take these lessons from grandma, and don't you fret. Take these lessons from grandma, you would not regret. I beg you, take these lessons from grandma. I'm warning you, you know the judges and juries of today work very hard yesterday. You know the magistrates of today work very hard yesterday.
Everybody here in my country, in every main road and every alley, I salute you. Oh yes, I salute you. Businesses and organizations, so much names, it's too much to mention.
I salute you.
Oh yes,
I salute you.
So proud how you rose to the occasion and contribute to help out your fellow man. Was willing to do whatever it takes. Not for 1 minute, you didn't hesitate. Can't stop now because it's not over. His journey is much too far. But while we are at it, let's do something too. For we sufferings down here. So I want us to make our mood okay and give all that we can give. For Miss Bella up in the country, 8 children in a rugged shanty, going to sleep on a hungry belly. I say one more token go help she. Digital and flow, Carriacou and more. This song I beg don't take no. 10 more for Haiti, I firmly agree. But one more token for we. Oh God.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I will be with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. It is now 5 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
Each time you text or give cash donation, food stuff, clothing, every contribution, I salute you. Oh yes, I salute you. For those who said prayers asking God to help them, to ease all the pain and see through the problems, I salute you. Oh yes, I salute you.
And of course, if you all are having any problems with the audio, let me know. If you're coming through nice, loud and clear, or if it's a little low, let me know.
Can't afford to turn back now, not shut.
My good friends out there in St. Lucia, good night to you.
Where will be tomorrow? No.
Sees on the YouTube. Shane Ross, good night to you. Arlene Fletcher, Charmaine Ragbasing, Rodney Barry, Christine Otley, Public Notice, and Sandra out there in St. Lucia. Ron Julian, Faithlyn Hallie Douglas, Deborah Flanders, Byron Frank, Liza Bernard, Deborah Laborde, Sherma Jeremiah, good night to you, and Zayla, Clive Raymond, Zoe, good night, Zoe. Right, Carib Spice Fitness, Kareen Hazard, Velma Pascal, Matthew Bowen, Earl Benjamin, Neela and Namara, good night to both of you. And Antonito, Anna Lewis, Ann Andrews, Sherma Alexander, Cindy Thomas, and good night to you, Xavier and Adejon. Nice. Kathleen Knights, Anthony Mona, Jackie Raymond, Baby Daddy, Osbert James, Alcy Peters, Good Life, Gemma Warwood, Faithlyn Hallie Douglas, Cynthia Bartholomew, Listra Abraham. I'm skipping that name for now. Ruth Chitterman, Patsy Frank, Gavin Thomas, Trajan John, Wilfred Antwine, and Marie Celestine Grant. Look the name again. Let me skip it again. Phyllis Mitchell, Alban Harris, Vanessa Lalji, Kathleen Ledlow, Maud Martin, Claude Abraham, Debbie Seals, Agnes Henry, Francis George, Ashma Charles, and Errol Bonaparte. Yeah, a special good night to each and every one of you. Sherms Houston, Sherry Lambert, Sunny Isle. I see you all under the Facebook. Norma Noel, Nakisha Jones, Gillian Prescott, Estelyn Let Davis. Good night to you and your husband. No, both of you are locked in. Sunny Isle, Jesse Sherry, Yolan Mitchell Moraine, Leroy St. Paul, Donna Langdon, Antonito Peters, Peter Mitchell, McLean Mitchell, and I'm seeing here Esther Peters, Joan Henry. Who have I missed? I didn't get from the top there. Olive McQueen, McEwen, sorry, not McQueen, Olive McEwen, Tegwa. Yeah, good night to you. Good night to you, Norma. And so, yeah, so all of you under the Facebook, we say a special good night to you. Folks, remember to like and share. You got a minute or two, just like and share. Like and share the live right now. Like up the thing, share up the thing. Yeah, let me see. We have to get up to 100 likes in no time flat on the Facebook and the YouTube. You know? Yeah, so like the thing, share the thing. If you don't know how to do it, let one of the children do it for you. They'll go set you up nicely. All right, nice. Yeah, let me take back a little piece of my song here. Nice, yeah.
And give all that we can give. For Miss Bella up in the country, 8 children in a rugged shanty, going to sleep on a hungry belly. I say one more token go help she. Digital and flow, Carib and more. This song I beg don't take no. 10 more for Haiti, I firmly agree. But one more token for we. Oh God. Till I don't leave that do. Time you text or give cash donation, food stuff, clothing, every contribution. I salute you. Oh yes, I salute you. For those who said prayers asking God to help them, to ease all the pain and see through the problems. I salute you. Oh yes, I salute you.
And indeed, we salute each and every one of you that assist in whichever way, yeah. Sometimes it's just the words of encouragement, you know.
Enough. Can't afford to turn back now, not shut doors. Remember?
Yeah, Sheldon Douglas, daddy here you win the crown and they refuse to give you, eh? Yeah.
So now while we on the note of helping and giving to Haiti in need, as the saying goes, it echoes one tone, charity big.
Folks, you know, I've seen that the Grenada Invitationals are back. Yes, they're coming up soon. So the Grenada Invitationals will be taking place. Yeah, and I also saw a note circulating there from the same Grenada Invitationals that Karani James, yeah, he'll be in action. this Saturday. So Karani is in action this Saturday, starting his season. And let me just read quickly what they've sent out at the Grenada Invitational, folks. Grenada's most decorated track and field athlete Karani James makes his 2024 debut on Saturday, April 28th at the USATF Bermuda Grand Prix at the Flora Duffy Stadium in Devonshire, Bermuda. The Bermuda meet will be Karani's first competitive outing since closing the 2023 season with a resounding win at the Diamond League Finals in Eugene, Oregon. 2024 is a very special year for Karani as he prepares to compete in his 4th Olympics, a first for a male 400-meter athlete. No other 400-meter athlete, male, has competed in 4 Olympics. So Karani is aiming to be the first male 400-meter runner to compete in 4 Olympics. Track and field fans the world over will be watching as Karani, the epitome of consistency, looks to set the tone for what should be an intriguing build-up to Paris 2024. And Karani, in his own words, said, "It's a new season. The first race is always interesting, but I look forward to it and hopefully I can have a good start to the season." Karani offered before leaving his U.S. training base for Bermuda. Yes, so Karani was talking there. Karani makes his highly anticipated return to the stadium named after him when he competes at home. Yeah, Karani's competing at home in Grenada for the first time since 2017. Yeah, so Karani James, for the first time since the year 2017, is going to be competing here in Grenada. When the official renaming ceremony had taken place back in 2017, that was the last time that he competed. Currently ranked number 5 in the world among 400-meter runners, James will compete at the 4th edition of the Grenada Invitational on Thursday, June 6th, at his namesake stadium in St. George's. The Bermuda Grand Prix will air this Saturday, 28th April on the NBC, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The 400-meter race is scheduled for 5:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, and I see that is signed by Mr. Dexter Mitchell. Good night to you, Mr. Dexter Mitchell. If you ain't listening, somebody go tell you that we talk about the thing. Let me see, Grenada Invitational, your tickets on sale. Nice, right. So tickets on sale for the Grenada Invitational, folks. You could go on the Go to Fet website, and you can also get them at Grenadian Optical, Maxis, Bar, Licks and Bites. And of course, yes, as I mentioned, you can also get them on Go to Fet. So the Grenada Invitational taking place on Thursday, the 6th of June. Yeah, I'm looking forward to heading to that particular one, man. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go to that one. Believe me, I want to go to that one. I want to attend to that one. Nice. Good. Folks, we're going to take your calls in and between 440. You know, we have several things we must speak about tonight. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. We will be taking your calls. But today, and before I start taking the calls though, today there was a sitting of Parliament, and there are 3 main issues we'd like to deal with coming out of the Parliament sitting. 1 tonight and 2 tomorrow night. So we will be having, God's willing, the Friday night forum will be on tomorrow night. There are 2 issues that we want to deal with tomorrow night, but there's 1 issue that I want to deal with tonight. Now, coming out of today's Parliament sitting, there are many things that came out of today's Parliament sitting. When we speak of the Electronic Communications bill that went there to become an act, we're going to discuss that in detail tomorrow night. Let me say it again. We're going to discuss that in detail. We're going to speak a bit about it tonight, but we are going to discuss it in detail tomorrow night. But tonight, I want to first address the issue of the questions. Now, as I've said, former Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell continues to send questions to Parliament. And in other words, he's asking government ministers to provide to the general public information in relation to various issues. Now, this was not a challenge during the period of the New National Party, and I'll tell you why. During the period of the New National Party, every Tuesday, you knew that you had post-cabinet press briefing. So you didn't have to wait until a Parliament sitting and hope that a minister answers the question that is posed to them. And they had a hope because these ministers don't believe they have to answer anybody. So you have to kind of hope that one of these ministers are going to answer the questions that you have posed to them. So there are many questions that are still outstanding there. For instance, in relation to travel. Yeah, in relation to travel. You're still trying to find out how much has this government spent in relation to travel up to this point in time. They bluntly have not answered that question. They gave all sorts of nonsensical excuses, trying to give you, the general public, that they still have some big, back in the days, those of you old enough to remember those big notebook when you go to a ministry, they have and they're recording everything in there. In fact, sometimes late in the evening, somebody had to be updating those books and they're writing. They didn't need to be updating the book, typing in anything. And if it was typing, was the old school typewriter with the pang, 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 screech, pang, pang. The older people know what I'm talking about with a typewriter. You had to hope your neighbor do have one, or you can't sleep if they're working in the night, unless they put it on a pillow to type. But they're trying to give you the impression that collecting information in relation to government ministers' travel is that difficult. Now, folks, when a government minister travels, at least that is how it ought to be, because they say they're doing things differently and they're transforming. But according to the rules, when they're traveling, all that information is contained in the online system that government has. Yeah, they have an online system, digital system, that tracks and traces payments and different things like that. There's a particular code. I'm just going to use a code. Let's say 0047. Let's say 0047, and I'm just saying that because that's what I'm seeing in front of me here for something else. So 0047. Let's say that is the code, and that code relates to traveling. Yeah? So all you have to do is input that code into the system that exists, and that code will tell you that, hey, this minister has traveled, this is how much was spent on that travel, and we had to buy tickets. This is the amount we spent on tickets for the minister to travel, and this is the amount that was spent for per diem and all those sort of things. There are codes that could simply be input into the system, and that information could easily be provided to Parliament. They have obfuscated this issue, and up to this point in time, those questions were asked back in 2022. I think they came back in 2023. Those questions were never answered as to traveling with government ministers, how much they've been paying. They gave up to a certain point in time and they didn't give any more. So that is something that has been there. You have other questions that have been asked in relation to other things, which either they have bluntly said that they are not going to answer, or that they gave a half answer. And when they give that half answer, in their minds, they consider the question answered. And they have not completed the answers. Now, in the case here, the former Prime Minister, Dr. Mitchell, asked questions in Parliament of the Minister of Finance in relation to several issues. And I'll pull it up for you so that you can see. We like you to be able to see what we're talking about when we're talking about things. And it says here, Government of Grenada, Minister of Finance, and it's dated the 22nd day of April. So that's just earlier this week. And reference is made to a memoranda dated March the 8th, 2024, captioned questions to be asked in the House of Representatives. I wish to respond with the following status update as at April 19th, 2024. So as of last week, that would be, yeah, as of Friday last, I believe. Questions 1 to 9. What was the budget provided to the NOC, otherwise the National Organizing Committee? And it says here, the allocation for the independence celebrations as stated last year in the budget speech was 15 million. The celebrations began with the launch on October 31st, 2023 and will continue throughout 2024. The allocation of 2023 was 7.5 million and the allocation for 2024 is 7.5 million. This allocation is provided to the National Organizing Committee as the leading entity responsible for the execution of various components of this celebration. So, folks, let's just deal with question number 1 in the first instance. We know, you and I know, yeah? You and I know, because we did a program and we spoke about that. So you and I know that when orally responding to that question at the last parliament sitting, not at this one, at the last parliament sitting before this one, the same Minister of Finance who sent this saying is 15 million now, that same Minister of Finance who is now saying it's 15 million, that was the same individual who made the statement. Let's see if we could pull up the statement that was made there.
To the subsection, the question was asked about the budget that has been provided for the independents. It's no secret, because it's a public information, that sometime in September of last year, we came to the House with a supplementary estimate to the amount of $7.5 million for the carnival activities. We said that this was needed to provide.
And of course, he made an error when he said carnival activities, because of course he was referring to the independence activities. So 7.5, and that 7.5 was part of the supplemental budget that was put forward in August of 2023. The funds in relation to that were only to be spent between the period of August 2023 down to December 31st, 2023. So let's hear what else he had to say.
Activities that would have actually been needed prior to the independence itself. And again, in this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, we did pass a budget that included the sum of $15 million for the independence celebration. If I should add both of them together, I think it works out to be about $22.5 million.
It works out to be how much, Minister? And this is the Minister speaking in Parliament. This is not the Minister lying by the side of the road talking to somebody and say, I think it's that. This is the Minister of Finance. This is the person who is actually in charge of the money. This is not another minister saying what they think it is. This is the person who is in charge of the finances of this country who is making the statement, yeah?
We did pass a budget that included the sum of $15 million for the independence celebration. If I should add both of them together, I think it works out to be about $22.5 million. However, I cannot tell you at this stage that that amount of money has been transferred to the National Organization Committee, and therefore I'll wait until I get a response from the ministry and the committee as to what has transpired there. Okay? Thank you.
So the minister is saying to us that in 2023, the sum of 7.5 million during the supplementary budget was allocated. That is the sum of, the sum of $7.5 million. Then he's saying in his budget presentation that they made a further allocation. And let me see if I can pull up his budget presentation here. The budget presentation ought to have been in November, I believe it was. In late November, I think the budget presentation was. So let's say the amount that he was saying at that point in time, and this is after we speak about the 7.5.
The rest of the celebration holds great promises as we commemorate the past 50 years and embrace the next 50. The year-long celebrations, which is expected to have significant economic spill-off, should cost approximately $15 million, covering events and commemorative activities that will mark the significant milestone in our history. Some of the major events and activities we look forward to: the issuance of a 50th anniversary independence commemorative $50 note, the renaming of our national landmarks, the introduction of teaching of Grenadian history in our schools, the hosting of 21 events and 7 parish celebrations, including launch of the school mobile museum, Independence Monarch semifinals and finals, National Round Island flag and release.
I think we basically got the idea there. So you have the minister who at one point in time is saying that the amount of money is $22.5 $2.5 million. Now you have that same minister, because it is the same minister, it is in his name that this document that I was just quoting to you all from, and let me pull back up that document. Yeah? It is his ministry that is saying now that the amount of money that was given for the independence celebrations is 15 million. Yeah? And even when you look at the budget document itself, it still does not speak to 15 million. And let me get that budget document up for you. Yeah, so let me just make sure that you've seen this one properly, because this is what was sent to Parliament to Dr. Mitchell today. The same minister who was saying that look, it is 22.5 million because you had 15 million and then you add 7.5 million. And I don't know how he could be in charge of this is not any minister. This is the person who's supposed to know. He's in charge of it. He sits in cabinet. They discussed this. So you're telling me that he was there and he don't know? Come on, something seriously. So he's saying here, and I want you all to see it, looky day. Yeah? 15 million. And they're saying 7.5 and 7.5, which, my friends, is still wrong. Yeah? That figure is still wrong. Because 7.5 and 7 does not make 15. And this is a document that was presented to Parliament. In fact, let me pull up the budget document. Where is it? Yeah, the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year. And let me see if I pull that across. Yeah, let me see. So yeah, showing all you are doing it. And let's go and find, let me find, in fact, let me pull that one back here. Right. Let's see how we could find the independence. Yeah. Let's see if we can find that in the document. It is, let me see. I'm just trying to pull it up here so that I can show you all what the actual budget document itself says now. And that's the official document. Yeah, that's the official document. Right? The official document. So I'm just trying to find it here. And again, we're dealing with a document here that is hundreds of pages long. So let me just... Right. So here, come on. Right. So when it comes to the independence celebrations here, and this is under capital expenditure, 50th Jubilee of Independence, they have here, under the estimates, they don't have 15. 7 and 7 is how much? Maybe my maths say maths incorrectly. All your maths might be maths in better than mine. So they had here under the estimates 7 million and 7 million. Yeah? The first 7 million, in my mind, is supposed to be the 7.5, not 7, but 7.5 million from August last year to December of last year. And this 7 million is supposed to be the 7 million that is to be spent in fact, no, sorry. This 7 million was what this 7 million here, this one, is what should have been 7.5 million. The provisional here, what you're seeing here, is what was spent out of the 7.5 million for 2023. But no matter which you add it, it does not come up to 15 million. You don't have 7.5 and 7.5 anywhere. You do not have 7.5 and 7.5 anywhere in the budget document. So I'm still trying to figure out where the figure of 15 million came from. And this is after we were told in the Parliament that the actual figure is 22.5 million. I ain't seen no apology come and say, well, okay, we gave you a wrong answer or so on. I didn't see anything that came and said, well, we gave you a wrong answer, we are sorry. Because remember, he wasn't the only one that spoke about 7.5 million last year and so on. He was not the only person that spoke to and about that particular figure. You had...
The other main item is the item of $7.5 million, which is on the capital, which means it's not recurrent. Mr. Speaker, this sum is...
And we just showed you under the capital part of the budget.
An appropriation to address the 50th anniversary of Grenada's independence. Mr. Speaker, this is not merely a celebration, but a significant observance and milestone in the civilization of Grenada and our nation's history. And we may, in effect, say that until we became an independent state, our civilization did not exist. We were merely part of...
Well, the rest of that ain't necessary. But the bottom line is that the Prime Minister himself spoke about $7.5 million, and that was during August last year when they had the sitting with the supplementary budget. Yeah? The Prime Minister didn't only say that, you know. He had this to say as well.
The $7.5 million compared to other independence celebration events is demonstrably higher, but you don't get to 50 until you get to 50. Hence the reason, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thanks. As well as a part of the legacy, we look at, Mr. Speaker, is the possibility of raising a 50th anniversary bond from which...
And folks, we're still awaiting to hear from this administration where they've gotten to when it comes to this 50th anniversary bond. Because I've heard nothing about that after this announcement during the... Because they're saying that they're going to spend $7.5 million at that time. Afterwards, you start to hear that it was 22 million. From the same person you're hearing it was 22 million, and you're hearing it's 15 million. So you had to try and figure out which one they was telling the truth at. Yeah? But you're hearing that they were going to raise a bond. In other words, they were going to, apart from taking the money directly from the consolidated fund, that they were going to raise a bond to try and raise the money to be able to celebrate the independence. But have you heard anything? Maybe I just not in the circles to hear, but have you heard anything? Any follow-up in relation to this bond that the Prime Minister was speaking about? Have you heard anything about that? And these were not the only people that spoke on that. You had this MP spoke on it as well. Let me see if I could pull him up here. Yeah, let me see if I could pull him up here. This MP...
Mr. Speaker, through you on the other side, is indicating that they have a problem with the amount of money. They are also indicating that it's not properly explained. But in their responses, when asked just some basic questions, where is the fact to what the point you're bringing forward? So, for example, we'll speak to the specifics, Mr. Speaker, through you. The member says that $7.5 million being spent for the Jubilee celebration doesn't give a clear breakdown as to what is being spent for or on. And two members, we heard it this morning, also say that why would you spend all that money now? Subtract the 2 million or 2.5 million or so that is spent for the note, $50 commemorative note. But what's about the 5.5 million? Why are you spending all that money now and unemployment high and people losing work and all these other things? Mr. Speaker, these claims are unsubstantiated. It is not factual, and I guarantee you that even after we leave here, none of the members on the opposition side can go out and prove this officially.
And the members of the opposition have been able to continue proving that to you anyway. But again, that's another one of their people that was speaking about the 7.5 million. Yeah? And then we saw the budget document speaking to 7 million for 2024. So if you have 7.5, add it with me, 7.5 and 7, it does not add up to 15. You see, if something like this had taken place during the period of the new National Party, here's what you would have seen. You'd have seen, one, you would have seen articles in certain newspapers or publications. You would have seen articles attacking whoever was the Minister of Finance at that point in time and the New National Party as a whole. All you know is a fact that's what you would have seen. Yeah? You would have heard call-in programs. You would have had special programs talking about how $7.5 million magically disappear out of budget and so on. You'd have heard all sorts of story. But certain people who used to talk then, either they like what's going on now or they're afraid to talk. Yeah? Either they like what's going on now or they are afraid to talk. And when members of the New National Party side, they started to raise concerns in relation to the 7.5. Here are some of the concerns that were raised. Yeah? Here are some of the concerns that were raised by members.
Speaker, a lot was said about the 7.5 on the recurrent, the national celebration, independence celebration. So I won't spend a lot of time, but just to make one point. My concern, besides the size of this, is that only the monies that were required for this year should be in the supplemental. That's what supplemental says. So you should have only that portion. So if you're telling me that you have 7.5, and I asked a question and it wasn't clarified. If it is you intend to spend 7.5 for the rest of the year, then I have a serious problem with the size of that expenditure for this year. Because I don't see what you're going to spend $7.5 million in preparation for the national celebration next year, which in soon you'd have to come with a budget.
No, don't worry, now while we go find out what they were spending the money on. That coming, yeah.
That in fact talks to the additional activities for next year and the expenditure. So it should only be. I remember when I asked that question in a certain meeting, I was told that they can't really give the estimate of the breakdown of those areas. But I said, if you can't give the estimate of those sections that you want to spend this year, how then did you come up with 7.5? So you're whooping at people saying cricket. And we cannot be whooping with the people's resources. And that's the point. So I wanted to be clear when I make these points.
And Dr. Mitchell wasn't the only person that spoke from the New National Party side on that particular issue. Yeah, he was not the only person that were questioning what was taking place when it came to that particular issue. Let me see if I can find another one here. Yeah, let me see if I can find another one here.
We look at, in the supplementary document you have under the Prime Minister's Ministry, there's an item for $7.5 million. And Mr. Speaker, the explanation that I see, and the only one that I've seen, and I would love to be corrected on that, is to mark the Jubilee celebration of Grenada's 50th independence anniversary. That's all. Now you're asking for $7 million. How much more is this 7.5 million than the normal? Was it 1 point something million, 2 million? Did it ever reach 3 million? Now we are multiplying. I wouldn't say exponentially, but we're multiplying it. 3 times, 4 times what it used to be. And therefore, with competing needs, and Mr. Speaker, I don't want to be misunderstood to be saying that we should not celebrate 50 years. I know.
So yes, folks. So you also had, on that particular issue, you had the Member of Parliament for the town of St. George also spoke on that issue.
Every day we set standards here. So I want to say to the member, it's a young man I have a lot of respect for, and I give you those that. But please, all I have heard from this side is that we need some explanations. Nobody came in here and complained about the amount in it without a context. And we said the reason why is because we were not given detailed explanations. So let's look at one of them, for example. And I'm not trying to take off anybody's neck. I'm just trying, you know, when I used to be on your side, in your party, the buzzwords were transparency. I hear it so much times, I mean, I could say it in my sleep. That's all we're asking for. They give us some details. So, you referred to the fact that the member here spoke about the $7 million for the independence celebrations. 7.5 million for the independence celebration.
Yeah, so members on the opposition team did raise concerns in relation to the 7.5 at that point in time. But now we realize 7.5, then 15, then up to 22.5, and now back down to 15, when 7 and 7.5 do not make 15. So something is still definitely wrong when it comes to that question and the way that it was answered. Yeah? Something is still wrong. The second question, and let me just pull that up for you a bit larger here. The second question that was asked was in relation to the contracts that were awarded for the independence celebrations and if they were done in keeping with the Public Procurement Act. Now, folks, this question was asked in the context of this. Remember, up until they changed it at the last Parliament sitting, any contract that was being awarded that cost over $15,000 and above, that contract had to go through the public procurement system. So in other words, there's the committee that would meet and they would go through the proposals that come from different people who are offering a good or a service to the government of Grenada. Yeah? So the government of Grenada wants to buy furniture to outfit a new facility. The furniture is going to cost, by their estimation, somewhere around 70-something thousand, 80-something thousand. They are going to say, let us check and see who are the various people we're going to put out that notice that government is looking for that. And then they would get the proposals in. The committee would look at the various proposals and the committee would say this person or that organization is best to provide that particular service. That is how public procurement is supposed to work. And notice I'm saying that is how public procurement is supposed to work. There are various aspects to this as well. And I'm taking my time to go through it because I want you all to understand clearly that something ain't looking too right with what is taking place with the spending regarding independence. Because up to now, you're still not sure if it's 22.5, if it is 14.5, or if it is 15 million. You're still not sure. Because you heard 15 million, which would mean if they say 7.5 and 7.5, but in the budget document, it only speaks to $7 million for the year 2024. So that maths ain't mathsing. Yeah, that maths just not mathsing. So as some of the answers that they provided when they were asked that question in relation to public procurement, as part of the answers, they provided the response from the Public Procurement Committee. They provided the responses for some of the companies. Some. They didn't say nothing about no drone show. So up to now, because as far as they're concerned, they're done with that question, you know. So they feed you 3, and they think, okay, we give them 3, so we don't have to give them no more. They go forget about that and go on to something else. But we know for a fact that there were many contracts that were given out there, and there are companies behind these contracts, and you have to find out about the companies that are behind those contracts. You have to find out these things. Yeah, so there's one here, and let me see, this is one of them that they sent to Parliament, right? This was sent to Parliament today. Where is it? Oh, yeah, here it is, right? And this speaks to It is sent to the Cabinet Secretary in her portfolio as Cabinet Secretary, which is something that I'm trying to understand. Why is the Procurement Committee writing to the Cabinet Secretary and not sending this back to the Independence Committee? But that's another discussion, right? They said no objection to award a contract for lighting project for the Carriacou. So this is in relation to the lighting of the Carriacou. This is to certify that the Procurement Board had given its no objection to the award of contract to Luma Lighting Decor for the project of the lighting project of the Carriacou for the 50th anniversary of independence. And that's nearly $300,000, a little over $250,000 there, $290,750. Please note, pursuant to Section 17D of the Procurement Act, this no objection is subject to Luma Lighting Decor fulfilling all tax and NIS obligation to the relative authorities. Let me read that last line again. Please note that pursuant to Section 17D of the Procurement Act, this no objection is subject to Luma Lighting Decor fulfilling all tax and NIS obligations to the relevant authorities. Yeah? So that is the first one. That is one of three. And there are many, as I said. We ain't hear nothing about the you ain't hear nothing about the drones and them kind of thing. You ain't seen, well, how much was for the drones, right? You ain't seen nothing in relation to that. The second one that they sent was this one, and let me just pull it up there. I have to be switching between machines, so you all will excuse me. Right. And this one is to certify that the Procurement Board had given its no objection to the award of contract to Metal Masters for the lighting project of the Carriacou for the 50th anniversary of independence for, that's a little over $500,000 there, $503,075. Please note that pursuant to Section 17, again, the same thing, Metal Masters fulfilling all tax and NIS obligations to the relevant authorities. All right, so that it is a requirement that any of the companies that receive contracts, yeah, that they are registered for and paying their taxes, that they registered for NIS, and they are paying NIS for their workers and so on. If you have a company that is not properly registered, either with the Ministry of Finance or with in CAIPO or wherever they should be registered. If you have a company that is not properly registered, and even if it's registered in the intellectual office, but it is not registered for paying taxes, that company cannot, not ought not or might not, that company cannot be considered for any contract under the Procurement Act. Yeah? That company cannot be considered for any contract under the Procurement Act. They have to be a tax-paying, NIS signed and paying company. If they are not doing that, then they cannot get a contract under the Procurement Act. And we're going to go to the section of the Procurement Act and show you for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. I will show you the Procurement Act and I will show you the section in relation to that. And I'm taking my time to go over these things because, again, I want you all to understand clearly what is taking place here. When people was asking what you're doing with 7.5 million and that sort of thing, when those questions were being asked, you hear the kind of answers that was coming back kind of disdainfully, kind of like, well, all you're asking about is the 50th independence. Yeah, is the 50th independence? So we have another one here, and this one is in relation to fireworks and so. This is to certify that no objection has been offered to award contract to Spicile Fireworks for the launch of the 50th anniversary of independence in the amount of $20,300. This objection has been provided, and again, they give the same information. Folks, I can nearly confirm as a fact for you that at least one of those companies is not registered to pay taxes and should not have been considered by the Procurement Board. The same Procurement Board that wrote back and said that that company is okay to receive the contract, and they quoted the part of the Public Procurement Act. They quoted it. Yeah, they said section, let me see, section 35. Is it section 35? Yes. Section 35 of the Public Procurement Act. And let me pull that up for you so you can see for yourself. Right? Public Procurement Act right here of 2014. Section 35. A procuring entity may use negotiated procurement as allowed, and that's under some other sections, as long as the purpose is not to avoid competition. Procuring entity may use negotiated procurement when, if there is one supplier, in other words, if there is only one company offering something on the island, then that's one situation. Who are the other people that are going to compete for it if there's one? So if there is only one supplier, contractor, or service provider who can supply the goods, works, or services being procured, or a supplier, contractor, or service provider who has exclusive rights in respect of the subject matter of procurement, and there is no reasonable alternative or substitute for the goods, works, or services. So, like in the case of the fireworks, if there were other companies and you sole sourced, you just said, okay, all you get in the contract, and you didn't open out the contract and say, well, okay, we're trying to get bids in relation to it. If they just said, what, you get in the contract, and they didn't check with anybody else, that would be wrong. So if there are other companies here in Grenada that offer the fireworks and they were not given the opportunity to apply, and they didn't get to, and there's only one person who was just told, hey, you're getting it, and they got it, that would go against what is in the act here. And again, read right, this is the 2024 Act number 39 on page 487, right? Section 35. And they have B here. Owing to a sudden unforeseen event, there is an extreme urgent need for the goods, works, or services being procured. For instance, during COVID-19, you could have sole sourced. And when I say sole source, I mean that you could have gone to one company and say, we need this, can you please provide this to us? And the reason was, you were in a state of emergency. You needed to get medical supplies immediately. You didn't have the ability to say that we're going to wait for a couple weeks for a couple things to come in from other people to say, well, okay, we're offering it at this and we're offering it at that. You didn't have that sort of ability during COVID-19 when you had to be setting up COVID ward. You had to get the various protective gear and so on before it disappeared, because the gloves and the mask and everything just started to disappear like that. So you had to move quickly. So owing to sudden unforeseen event, there is an extreme urgent need for the goods, works, or services being procured. So you could not go through the normal procurement process in something like COVID or after a hurricane, a national emergency, those sort of situations. Those are emergency situations. All right? Section 3 here. The following procedure shall apply with respect to negotiated procurement. The procuring entity shall negotiate with one or more suppliers, contractors, or service providers as appropriate for the supply of the goods. In other words, it was the National Organizing Committee. They had to negotiate with one or more to try and get the best price in relation to what is being offered. And I'm not saying here that they didn't get the best price, I'm saying here that at least one of those companies at least that have been mentioned there, is not even registered to pay tax in the state of Grenada. So they ought not to have been considered by the procurement board in the first place. And that one is, let me see, section 17D. Let me just pull up section 17D, man. Section 17D of the Procurement Act. Yeah, because they're supposed to be paying NIS. So in other words, they can't have people working for them and not paying NIS. So you have to be registered and paying NIS. And there is one company there that is not. I'm not going to say which one. Going to leave that to the media people out there. Yes, to go and investigate. But at least one of the companies isn't paying any taxes. And in the case of two of those companies, they were registered last year. So when you hear we're hearing things about companies that at least 2 were registered last year. So you're hearing things about companies that were registered in 2023 when this thing started coming up about the 50th anniversary and how much money had to be spent. And all of a sudden you realize some companies are just popping up. They never existed before. They don't have a track record of offering any particular service. But all of a sudden you hear, bam, those companies are now registered and so on, and they registered here and they registered and thing, and they get contract over other companies that were existing long before. Right? So, and well, that doesn't bother them, but we're saying that just doesn't look normal, does it? So when it comes to section 17, yeah, let me pull up section 17 and show you large, man. Yeah, section 17. And again, this is the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Act, section 17. And you know, in the no objection, they spoke to section 17D. Yeah, section 17D of the Procurement Act. Let's see what section 17D says. Have fulfilled the obligation to pay all required taxes and contribution in Grenada as are applicable. That's what section 17, there's section 17 here, and section 17D speaks to them not being considered if they do not cross this threshold. They have to have fulfilled their obligations to pay all taxes as required and contributions. So the NIS, the income tax, stamp tax, duties, whatever it is, they have to be considered by the procurement board. They must have completed that. Again, there is one company in the 3 that does not meet that threshold. So it leaves us to wonder then, what else is taking place with the rest of people that were considered under the Procurement Act there? Because remember, they're not giving you the list of suppliers, and I'm pretty sure that you may also find situations where there are companies that provided services to the government of Grenada during the independence celebrations and even continuing that are not meeting the threshold. They're not paying their NIS. They're not even registered for taxes. They're not paying NIS. And remember, these are just 3 companies. You don't know how much was paid for the drone show. You're hearing figures, but you don't know how much was paid for that. You've heard of a company that was behind that. You don't know if that company was subcontracted or if that company subcontracted to another company here. So and then remember, the same Procurement Act that is being referred to here, that they only sent 3 of the contracts to, that is the same Procurement Act that they went and changed the other day and raised the threshold to 100,000. And remember, they still have money for the rest of this year to spend. So they may pretty well come and say, well, we didn't need to procure. That one was $80,000. We didn't need to procure that. So they give a relative or one of the people on the National Organizing Committee. They could always come and say that. Because remember, when we heard from the chair, is it the chair? Yeah, the organizing committee people there. When we heard from them, they were saying, come on, yeah, that's open. Yeah, nice. Let me hear what I was saying in relation to the spending and so on.
What about budgeting for this particular event? How are we working on terms of budget? Are we on par with the budget? Are we above budget? Or are we running a little bit behind the cost?
I would simply say we are on par with the budget. Actually, we're running under budget at this stage. We're managing it tightly and continue to be cognizant of the importance of working within a budget that was provided.
So they're working within the budget that has been provided. Yeah, so they're working within the budget. So we shouldn't have anything to worry about. But let's go back to the questions. So let me just raise them here. Right, so let me just get the questions answered. So that's question number 2. Question number 3. Question number 3. Who designed the Grenada Turns 50 logo and how much was paid to that service provider? Yeah, they said it was a competition with several creatives and so on. 7 finalists were asked to refine the concept. Mr. Ordell de Riggs won the prize of $5,000. Each semi-finalist was paid $500. So they say the concept that was refined was Mr. Ordell de Riggs, and he refined the concept, and he was paid a prize of $5,000. Right? They asked who owns the copyright, and this question I found the response to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah? It says, who owns the copyright for the official theme song of the 50th Independence celebration? It says here, the response here is that the song is not copyrighted. Mr. John James of Carriacou is the producer. That's Expert Studios out there in Carriacou. They have been doing an excellent, excellent job over the years, not just with the Grenada Independence song. A lot of the artists here in Grenada, not only here in Grenada, artists are leaving Trinidad and St. Vincent and all over and heading to Carriacou to have their productions done by Expert Studios. But I found that response to be very interesting because I myself played the Up From Here song on Talking Points, and I was given a copyright strike. In other words, the song was copyrighted. So I find it very strange that now they're claiming the song is not copyrighted. Because I know on 3 occasions, 3, I received a notification. That's why I tend not to play, and I always tell you all, I don't play certain songs on the program because what happens is that I receive a copyright strike. And if I receive that copyright strike, what tends to happen with that is that it would reduce the visibility of the program to other people. The program won't show up as much in people's timeline and so on. Yeah? And if the program is monetized, the 30 cents or 10 cents or so that would have been going towards that program would go to the people who it's copyrighted for. So it is a money earning thing. Right? So I receive copy. So that is not true. If they have since removed the copyright, then they can say that. But they can't give the impression just that the song is not copyrighted. That is a lie. The song was copyrighted. I can tell you as a fact, I myself received a copyright strike for playing that song during Talking Points. In fact, I also streamed the drone show itself. And the song was played during the drone show, and I received a copyright strike there. So I received more than one copyright strikes. And a copyright strike is you receive a message from YouTube that you have played copyrighted music. Sometimes what they could do is they might remove your whole video. According to the amount that you play, they would remove your whole video, or they would give you the option to mute that song at various parts or to cut out that part of your video where the copyrighted song is. And that happened to me. And I know of 2 other individuals that received copyright strikes in relation to that. So the answer to question number 5 is not truthful. If they have since myself and the 2 other individuals received copyright strikes to it, if since then they have gone forward and they have removed the copyright from the song, that is one thing. That is one thing. But the copyright, there is, or at least there was, a copyright in relation to that song. Well, I played it last night, so I'll soon know, because sometimes it takes a couple days before they give you a copyright strike. Yeah, that's how YouTube works, and so even Facebook. It takes a couple days, then you get an email saying that, oh, that video, you played this song during that video, and that song is copyrighted, and it gives you several options what you can do. So I'll soon know, because I played that song last night again. So if they have since removed the copyright from it, that's one thing. But to give the impression that it was never copyrighted or so, I can tell you from personal experience, the answer to question number 5 is not truthful. that the song was produced by Mr. John James of Carriacou. That is so. But to give the impression that it was not, that is not true. I can tell you as a matter of fact that is not true. I may even have a screenshot of the copyright strike somewhere. I have to search the system to find it. All right. Question number 6 asked how much funds were raised from the paraphernalia to the state of Grenada. Which revenue header in the budget would the funds be categorized? So they say they can't answer that question yet. In other words, you see the selling t-shirts and mugs and bags and caps and different things like that. So the first question, this is a two-part question. The first question was, how much money you make? So they say, well, we're still selling. So we're not going to give a figure now. I would think that you're supposed to know, because you're supposed to have an inventory, a digital inventory, that at this time you could know, well, okay, we had 300 caps and we sold 250, so there are 50 left. We raised X amount of money and so on. It seems as though there's some kind of loose arrangement, so we just acting and we just selling. When we're done, we go come up with a figure and tell all you guys how much we make. And then the second part of the question was very clear. The second part of the question was, which revenue header in the budget would the funds be categorized? Because you must have a space under the budget that those funds are placed under as revenue. So you could be able to answer that. So they say, well, no, things they finalized for the year, so they can't go into that. Question number 7, were any payments made to members of the Secretariat? If so, please provide the name, position, and amount paid or to be paid. The members of the Secretariat, the response now, the members of the Secretariat compensated based on their respective roles, right? They are the small ones there, and then they ain't bothering with the small one there, man. The small man and them get a look at 1,500 and thing. But you see down there, you start to see Project Officer Anderson and Twine, 3,500. You see Marilla Hagley, Project Officer, 4,000. Tia Cummins, Project Officer, 4,500. Jackie Alexis, Project Officer, 4,500. And I have to ask a question as well. Is Miss Jackie Alexis attached to a ministry, or is she attached to the National Celebrations Committee? Is she receiving at this point in time a salary as an employee of a particular ministry and still receiving this payment as part of the National Organizing Secretariat? Or is it that she is now seconded over to the Secretariat and only receiving the 4,500? I'm asking because several people have raised that particular issue. The creative director, creative producer, Mr. Ricardo Keynes Douglas, $9,000. Miss Gail Purcell, Mrs. Gail Purcell, the head of the Secretariat, $10,000. And folks, you're not speaking a one-off here, you know. This wasn't just what they get for the month of February. This is what they're getting every month. That 9,000 and that 10,000 and that 4,500. Those funds are being paid every month for the remainder of this year. And in fact, a further question, let me see if it's there, but a further question I may have asked there is, if these individuals, when did the payments start to these individuals? Because was it a case that in the budget was passed in when? The budget was passed in August of last year. That's when the 7.5 million was approved for the Secretariat. Was the Secretariat established in August or July or June last year? Were the members of staff paid retroactively to June or July or whatever last year? Were they paid from August? Were they paid from September? Were they paid last year at all? Because the Secretariat may have been operational from one point during last year. So you have to find out now, was the Secretariat operating and were payments made during the year last year? Because we know that they're being paid January, February, going right down to December, and possibly January and February of next year. And I'll ask you all, you are sure that we could not have found as capable individuals in the state of Grenada that were willing to do a little pro bono on behalf of the people of Grenada? I'm pretty sure. I'm not knocking the competence of anybody on this list. I'm not knocking the competence. Yeah? I'm not knocking the competence, although I know one or two they kind of incompetent, but I am not knocking their competence. Yeah? But for instance, in the case of the creative producer, $9,000, what events are taking place each month to qualify $9,000 to a creative producer? We having an Up From Here concert every month. We having some big activity every month that the creative director, I know some of the parishes are doing things, and some of the constituencies, some have it down at the constituency level, some of them are doing things. Is the creative director involved in that? How involved? Do we need to have a creative director that by the end of this is going to be paid 0.1 million? Yeah. Do we need to have the head of the Secretariat being paid somewhere around that'll be about a little over 100,000? Yeah. 100,000 going there? What are the roles that they are carrying out at this time that requires these types of salaries? That's just the questions that I'm asking. Yeah? Maybe they need to answer that. Did the government of Grenada, and this one I want those of you that are out there in the diaspora, yeah? Those of you that are out there in the diaspora, I want you all to help us with this one. Yeah? People like my good friend, Mr. Adrian Watts, who is celebrating his birthday today. Just wanted the numbers to go up before I say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Adrian Watts. And that comes from the home circle. That comes from all your friends and your family down here. A happy birthday. That comes from Kiami. That comes from all of us. I will play the song I'm playing at the end of the program tonight is for you. And also, a happy birthday to Mr. Tafawa Pierre. Yes, Mr. Tafawa Pierre Sr. A happy birthday to you as well, sir. And we do hope that you're enjoying your evening this evening. Now, Mr. Watts, I hope you're hearing this afterwards and you're hearing it live. I hope you're liming tonight. You and the wife going out to dinner or something. You're celebrating your birthday and your home and thing, man. Go out to dinner and thing. Have a nice time, man. Enjoy. You understand? Yeah. Always look like you're getting younger. You ain't getting older. But anyhow. So, folks, those of you out there in the diaspora, the question was asked of the government, did the government of Grenada, through the National Organizing Committee, pay or sponsor flights and accommodation for persons in the diaspora to come home for the independence celebration? If so, please provide a list of the names, destination, and costs associated with the accommodation and travel for each individual. The government of Grenada did not say no. They did not say they didn't do it. Notice the answer that they put. Not in keeping with the current administrative practices. That isn't saying that you ain't do it. That is saying that it might have been done, but it was wrong because it is not in keeping with the current administrative practices. 9 words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words, and a full stop. That's how they answer that question. They did not say no. All they said is that it is not in keeping with the current administrative practices. That's the way that a lawyer might answer a question. Did you go and take the neighbor mango? I am not the type of person that usually goes and take people mango. That mean you ain't going to take the neighbor mango, you go and take it. The question is, did you go and take the neighbor mango? I am not the type of person that usually go and take the neighbor's mango. That is a legal answer. You have not answered the question. And the mere fact that they go that legal route to answer that question tells me that where there is smoke, there definitely had to be some fire. So those of you that are out there in the diaspora, you will have to let us know what you have heard in relation, because we know people was boasting to you that they're getting the ticket and they're coming down. We actually heard people making statements that all you get all your ticket and come down and check this person and check that person. We heard of instances of people checking into hotels here in Grenada, checking into hotels, and officials attached to this administration coming down to make sure they settle in and deal with the financial part of them staying at those facilities. So don't get it twisted. They didn't say that they didn't do it. They just said that it is not in keeping with the current administrative practices. And I don't know if they mean the current administrative practices of the National Organizing Committee, so therefore the government of Grenada did it, or the government of Grenada and the NOC did it. Don't let them tie you all up. Don't let them twist you all up. You all too intelligent for that. Yeah? So they said, again, it is not in keeping with the current administrative practices. That's what were the costs paid for marketing and or sponsorship for the celebrations. Again, they say they can't give you the answer in relation to that. They couldn't even say, well, okay, up to the end of March, this was how much. They just say, well, we go answer only at the end of the year. Remember, prior to that, they had to work within, well, they were supposed to work within the Public Procurement Act. Now, that figure has been raised. They are able to avoid having to go through the public procurement procedure. So they could be waiting till the end of the year because now they want to push through a set of things and backdate it as though, hey, this up now, but this is on a contract. You understand? Twist the thing around, obfuscate the issue. The question is asked, how long will the Secretariat remain in existence? That's question number 10. And it says, as mentioned before, the 50th anniversary is a year-long celebration. In fact, it runs for a little over a year, as it is programmed to conclude at the end of 2024. Therefore, the Secretariat will exist until the culmination of the celebration. So, not necessarily the end of 2024, but you may very well see the Secretariat going until January or February next year, when officially you will be finished with your 50th and you're going into your 51st. Yeah? So those are the questions that were posed in Parliament. Those are the responses that came to them. I like the response to question number 8. Not in keeping with the current administrative practices. Me? I'm not the type of person that usually go and take people mango. They watching the mango stain and watching your clothes and thing. Your fingers looking yellow, you eat the mango, you know. But no, I'm not the type of person that usually go and take people mango. But you know you went and take the person mango, but you give an answer, you didn't say it's me that go and take it. You didn't say it's you, and you didn't say it's not you. You just say usually you're not the person that does do that. And that's what that answer says to me. Folks, we're going to open the phone lines. It is now 18 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. Well, some of the things showing 19 now. 19 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. And of course, we're going to be taking your phone calls right now. 440-7377. That's a 440-7377. And 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. And you all, my inbox is empty, yeah? I'm not seeing the activities, the various activities. I know there are some activities going on and so on, but like, well, if I get in to send the activities to me, man.
Future plan.
Drop it in the WhatsApp. Let me know what's going on, yeah?
Me neighbor and she granddaughter discussing. She say with all love, my grand, you are my favorite one. Cause you is the dog.
And we have a call online. Hello, good night.
Shirley?
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Good night,
you
sir.
Leave out, I don't know if you have it on that document, but you leave out one.
Let me hear
you leave out one.
Let me hear the
one. One is something connected to the NDC or something like that. And this person is the head or something from the States. I can't remember what it is. But they open a restaurant.
Well, that is not on the document.
Oh, that came out this evening, you know. That was said this evening by Simon says.
Well, she know that. I don't know about that.
Oh,
it's not on the
telling
document.
you.
It's not on the document.
Okay, because they talk about this people who open restaurant day after that thing. So let me let you know, as I see yours reading from the documents, I see probably you
No,
must have left
that is probably a bit of information she has separate to the document itself.
Oh.
Yeah, but what I can tell you is that part is not on the document. That's why, you see, when I talk, I like to show people what I'm talking about. So that's why I showed the document so that people understand where we're coming from. When we go out and we speak on this, we speak from a point of we have the information to back up what we are saying.
I know.
We're not saying it just like that.
She seems as though she had the information because she saw you the whole building, inside of the building, she saw everything.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I didn't get a chance.
Good. So you
I
can
didn't,
listen to my case and then
when I view later, because I try to view sometimes before the program, but I didn't get the chance today.
All right.
Yeah.
So because you said that, I said let me just tell you that what I heard.
Okay, my brother. Thank you
All
so
right,
very
good
much.
day, sir.
All right, good, thanks. And I think we've got another caller online. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Scott.
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good.
All right, go right ahead.
Is this Miss Purcell living in Grenada or she lives in foreign?
No, Miss Purcell is a Grenadian. She lives here. She's a Grenadian.
Aye?
Mrs. Purcell is a Grenadian. She's based here.
Okay.
Yeah, she's based
We
here.
would have to find Miss Purcell that she give us some answers because we won't get that in Parliament.
Well, there are several questions that remain there because, for one, when it comes to the issue of people who came in from the diaspora into Grenada, the response to that shows me that the government is hiding something. And they're smirking and laughing, because they believe they fooled somebody. I don't think they understand that they're dealing with Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell,
I don't want to go by Dr. Keith Mitchell, man. We could deal with them individually. Dr. Mitchell and they, Dr. Mitchell go on with Rowley and them to talk about West Indies cricket. I don't care about them. No. I know about them Purcell. We could deal with them for ourselves. That's the beginning. I will be back.
All right, my brother. All right, thank you. All right, let me just make sure that's the unmute date. Nice, right? Yeah, good. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call. And yes, I have the WhatsApp up in front of me this time so I can see when folks are trying to call me on the WhatsApp. Yeah, learn to make sure and kind of, you have to keep a eye so. I kind of have to nearly, I have to semicircle, I have to be watching things on all end to make sure everything is working well. Yeah? So that my question. I'm asking about the artistic director. Okay, if you had to find a job for your friend, tell us you're getting a job for your friend. The same as how you're sending the ambassador to, the high commissioner, to Canada. Just come to us, say you're linking up your partner, you want to drop some money in his hand, so you give him a little link up to go up there. We might understand, We might understand. If you explain it to us, we might understand, but don't try to bamboozle us. We have a caller online. Good night. Hello? Hi, good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Good night. Good night, Talking Points family. Happy birthday to Mr. Watts. So, Sheldon, so basically, with this 22.5 million or 15 million or 7.5 million, either we're missing 7.5 million
or 14.5.
Or we're missing 14.5 or we're missing 500,000. Either way, the math's not adding up, right? So, Sheldon, we also hearing about these the lights and the companies that was created to procure these lights and people was hired to install the lights. But we're not hearing how much these lights cost to be running at nights. We're not hearing the bill, the electric bills, right? in comparison to other stuff that you're hearing about, you're hearing companies, shell companies. You're hearing locals getting work and they're getting the exorbitant fees. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with paying people for their talents, paying people for their work. But you hearing a $9,000 fee for 3-4 months, and then you have a whole year of celebrations, and you're not hearing anything big like what was happening in February. Nobody's disputing that the independence celebration wasn't big. Under any government, a Jubilee independence or any celebration would be big, regardless of who there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're beating the chest for. My problem is when Dr. Mitchell was given contractors, small contractors on the road, drain work to do, road work to do, housing brigade, toilet brigade, bathroom toilet. They were saying, oh, handouts and what they were saying again, tokenism, right? And these men wasn't getting 9,000. And mind you, I ain't saying that who getting the 9,000 don't deserve it. But you telling me go down 9 months, they want to run this for 9 months, 11 months, and 12 months in comparison to what Dr. Mitchell was doing.
Over
and
12
you telling
months.
me
Over 12
this
months,
is
bro. Over
you
12.
telling me this is not corruption? We've seen corruption in our eyes, clear and present. And Mr. Scott, I will say it again. Gas price is $16.76, and not a man uttering a word. I had to go and pay my liability tomorrow, $50 extra. Not a man saying a word. What we coming to in this green area? What are we? Watch. I don't know how people supporting this NEC. And like I said, you can support your party, but if you see your party doing wrong, all these wrongs you seen happening, and brother, you're not talking about it. You hear about people making money that is not living in Grenada, that's on board in Grenada. And the caller make a reference. I mean, it's not your program, it's not in the documents, but we are hearing the fruits of what is happening. So people are getting money on the outside. So we want to hear where all these millions go in that NOC, and Ms. Purcell, rightly so, and Ms. Grenada or whoever had to come and give us a direct breakdown of what they've been spending these monies on. Because trust me, when this corruption open and this thing spread, Grenadians won't like it. Shall I have a good night?
Well, what I could say, my brother, before you go, is that definitely something is up when it comes to, because I'm sitting here and all I'm seeing is messages coming in left, right, and center from people who are out there in the diaspora, they're out there in North America and so, and they are identifying people who got tickets from the government, either directly or indirectly, to come down during the independence celebrations, inclusive of accommodation in some instances.
Well, Sheldon, you know what? With all these things, that may be so. But you know what is alarming? People are making the same statement and say NNP is bringing plane load. Well, if you had a proof of that, bring your proof. Show us that proof. But we're showing them their proof because everything right now is online. It's online, and we could find out who. And that's the reason why right now they could change the name under whatever they want as scrutinizing the elections voters list, and they didn't get away with that. Joke they're making. There's no reason for you to go to the diaspora to get votes if you are popular on the ground in Grenada. Fight all your battle on the ground here. Shall I have a good night?
All right, my brother. 440-7377. That's 440-73. What's the matter with you? Yeah, 440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, so you could call us. Nice? Yeah. Especially when it comes to that diaspora question. Yeah? Especially when it, and look, more information coming up in relation to those things. Something ain't right. You could have just come and say, no, neither directly or indirectly did the government of Grenada or the National Organizing Committee spend for flights, etc., for Grenadians to come home during that period. Yeah? They could easily have just said, no. But instead of giving that answer, the answer they gave leads me to believe that they're refusing to answer the question. So they gave a kind of answer that basically leave you there thinking, if you're dumb enough, you'll think, well, yeah, they answered the question. No, they answered the question. They're just saying that they may have done it, but it's not in keeping with normal procedure. Yeah? Not in keeping with normal procedure. So they have to Anyway, no, I know. Maybe they might have to answer some more questions in relation to this again, yes? Because definitely when it comes to the procurement part of it, there is at least one company that was identified as being part of this thing that should not have been allowed to obtain a contract under present procurement laws. They should not have been allowed to have a contract. We have a caller online. Good night.
Hello, Sheldon. Good night.
Good night, caller. Go right ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm just asking this question.
Yes,
if you scrutinize the voters list and you see a name there that is not supposed to be there, who do you have to report to?
You could either speak to the constituency lead in your constituency, whoever is leading wherever you are, or here's what you can do as well. Call the New National Party main office, 440-1875 or 1876. Leave the information with one of the young ladies there. Leave the constituency and the name of the person that you have found on the list. That's if you can't find the constituency lead for your constituency. All right?
Okay, so for instance, if I am in St. John's, would I have to report to Mr. Dabrio then?
Yes, you would get to Mr. Dabrio, get that information to him. Yeah?
Okay, so what I would like for you to do for me, the number you gave me there, after I hang up, you can repeat it for me so I could write it down, okay?
I will make sure that I do that, my brother. Okay, no problem.
Thank you very much.
All right, great.
All right.
Yes, folks, and for those of you, that's an excellent question actually by the individual that called there. If you have found a name on the list and you want to know what to do, you could contact whoever is the constituency lead in your constituency. And if you can't find that person or the persons within the constituency, because you know this thing is time, you have to find it now. You can call 440-1875 or 1876. So let me repeat that again. You can call 440-1875 or 440-1876. That's the New National Party main office. And you just leave the following information. You leave the constituency, and you can leave even the name and the polling division, because sometimes within one constituency, you might have as much as 4 people having the same name. So it's important to state the polling division, the name, spell it out correctly for them so that they won't have a problem finding it. Spell it out correctly for them. Okay, I missed that call. Yeah. Spell out the name correctly for them and give them that information. So they would pass it on to who needs to have that information so that the requisite challenge can be made. Yeah, because if you know for a fact, and leave your name and number when you do that, please. Leave your name and number in case they need additional information. So don't just call and say, hey, so-and-so from that area, and you hang up. No. Leave your name and your number as well as the person that's reporting that, so they know in case they have to get back to you, it'll be confidential. In case they have to get back to you, they're able to get back to you on that issue. And as the caller raised that issue, folks, I hope that you all are scrutinizing the list. I hope that you all have tried to do a bit myself. Each of us have to take the responsibility. Check the list in the area, and if you find names popping up there that you know for a fact, you know that name shouldn't be there, report it. You find some names that you find suspicious there, you can't identify the person, because I know of situations before in one particular polling division. There was a guy that went by a nickname. Everybody from the time is small, you know this guy by this nickname, but nearly nobody know his proper name. So people seeing this name on the voters list and they're trying to figure out, who is this person? You understand? The guy was a kind of, every community had the kind of person that kind of, they're like a vagrant, but they're not a vagrant. They have a place they stay in. The place might be in a kind of state and they do odd jobs and so around, and they have a nickname, right? So that was one of those types of individuals. So people wondering, but who is this guy? Until one of them say, well, no, I went to school with him and I so and so. Yeah, we have a call online. Good night.
Yes, Sheldon. I found a stray a while ago. Because if a person came in and they had to register to get the return ticket, there is no question that the government paid for them.
No.
There is no question. Once they had to register, to get a return ticket.
I'm trying to figure out how I strayed, though.
I'm
trying to figure out how I strayed.
When you said that you're not sure if the government, what the answer was,
No, but it's a fact. The answer is a non-answer. So I'm just stating what the facts are. The answer is a non-answer. I can't say the answer is a proper answer. The answer is a non-answer. They have not answered the question. They have left the door open to supposition. They have left the door open so that Grenadians who know for a fact that they did, those people would not say, well, okay, we can't say they lie. You understand? Because they have basically said, and I use the example, you go in the neighbor yard, you take two in the neighbor mango, and you go and you sit down in the veranda, you suck the mango. They come and they ask you if you suck the mango's still in a bowl next to you, you ain't wash your hand yet. They ask if they say, I am not the type of man that usually go and take people mango. You didn't say that is not you, but you didn't say it's you. You just say, I am not usually the type of man that go and take people mango.
I ain't going that route. I'm going, last night I tell you, I'm going like snake, you know.
No, don't go as snake, man. Don't go as snake.
Don't go as snake?
I have an aversion to serpents.
All right.
All right, my brother. Thank you. 440-7377. Let me clear the box. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Yeah, them people and them, they're trying to give the impression that no. And again, look, more messages coming in. Yeah? Folks, there are many of you out there who know people that get a ticket and come down. All you know, the people get a ticket and they come down. Yeah, we have a caller online. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, go right.
You hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. You probably were using a device. Go right ahead, caller. You're live.
Yes. I'd rather bring up certain subjects in there because some things cross my mind. You see the drone show? The drone show highlights a lot of things. I mean, it's 50 years, yes, but you got fireworks, you got drone show. And then after everything is done, poor people still can't get medication in the hospital. It's unreasonable. Our government is set up there like a family. Are you going to go and do things if you know your roof leaking? Are you going to change all the galvanize and stop your children from going to school? Come on, man. Anything, go off. I would like the gas station and go off to please be reopened. Because, shall I ask you, after go off coming to town, the next place I go is Grand Mall for gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, the next place is Grand Mall.
After go off, there is no gas station in Grand Roy. There is no gas station coming down on the western side.
I know.
Does St. Mark's have a gas station?
Yes.
A lot of people depend on go off gas station. A lot of people depend on go off gas station. It's unreasonable to have a parish that don't have that facility. People in Florida, in parts in St. John, I mean, the gas station need to do something with and get it to open up. Because I'm telling you, that gas station is a very important gas station on the western side. It's unreasonable to have that gas station. And on behalf of the people of Gulf, please, Mr. Prime Minister, see what you can do, because without you, nothing can be done in this country. Thank you. Have a good night, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. 440-7377. Yes, you can call us on WhatsApp. You can call us directly. And 347-329-3101. All right. Yes, so you could call us which way, that way or the other way, them kind of thing. You understand? No, they did the drone show and so, and some people like it. I mean, yeah, it looked nice and so on, but at the end of the day, we want to know how much was paid for not just the drone show. The drone show is one thing. That kind of, a lot of people look at the drone show, that is one thing. But there are other things. Because I'm hearing stories, I'm hearing of people who are directly on the National Organizing Committee, involved in companies that got work from the National Organizing Committee. are hearing that. So prove that what I'm hearing is wrong. Put out the information that tells everybody that, hey, this thing is not true. Yeah, let us see all the contracts that were given, the companies and or individuals that were involved, so that we could settle this talk that's out there about who on the National Organizing Committee, and they are part of companies or they have very close relatives who own companies and carrying out or carried out various jobs on behalf of the National Organizing Committee. In any other country, it's called corruption. Yeah? So prove to us that there's no corruption. Give the information as requested by Leader of His Majesty's Opposition in relation to this issue. Kindly present the information so that folks will know that, hey, that is not true. But in the interim, we are left to wonder if what we are hearing is correct. We are left there. Because you're hearing that story, you're not hearing the story. You're even hearing of some of the family members, very close family members of people on the National Organizing Committee, were out there boasting. Yeah? Out there boasting. So I'm saying, if there are, just give the information. You know, you could give the information for up to, let's say, the end of April. So you make a cutoff on, what is when the end? Monday, Tuesday, whenever. You do the cutoff on that point in time, and you give the information for the first quarter of 2024. Just like how other committees, you have the one in relation to the electoral office, they give the quarterly report. Give us a quarterly report. In fact, any organization, that's what you should be doing now, giving a quarterly report. Yeah? So you expect to have a quarterly report in relation to these things. So you should have a list, unless it's a situation where all you have a bag of money and they just go and tell a man, do that job and hand him a $4,000. I don't know if it's bag man they're moving with bag of money. So you have a bag of money and you just go and say, fellas, all you handle a little contract, they do that thing, they, how much all you want? Yeah, take an extra 1,000 on top of that. I don't know if that is how they're doing things. I wouldn't like to believe that is how they're doing things. So, present the contracts. Present the contracts. Those that went through procurement and those that did not go through procurement. Present them. Yeah? If there's nothing to be afraid of, simply present them. That's as far as I'm concerned anyway. Yeah? Just present them. 4407377 347-329-3101.
Everybody here in my country, in every main road and every alley, I salute you. Oh yes, I salute you. Businesses and organizations.
Yeah, I've been hearing the creative director is actually in Canada right now or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know, maybe we're having an independence thing in Canada. I don't know.
So proud how you rose to the occasion.
And it says that the salaries are the monthly salaries. So we need to know, because next thing we're thinking that people are being paid every month and that was a 1 month or something like that. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Sheldon. What's up?
Hey, I'm quite fine. How are you?
Well, I'm fine.
Yeah,
there's something I want to find out. Mm-hmm. Is Randall Robertson and these guys are alive still?
I don't know.
I asked this question.
Don't bother them.
I asked this question because the reason why I asked this question is, just this afternoon on Jenny Simon's show, I heard him saying that if a government is doing something wrong, no matter which government, they're supposed to come out. People are supposed to come out and talk, speak about it. Things are not right. Speak about it. Why am I not hearing them? What happened to these guys? Many of the ministers, the things I heard they were saying, I find them numb. Are they afraid of the Prime Minister? What's wrong? I'm not hearing anything from these people. I mean, come on. Come out and talk for the poor. Talk for the country. Because this government is definitely doing a lot of things wrong. As a matter of fact, they're not doing nothing right. So why they're not talking? You know, sorry. Good night.
All right, my brother. Thank you. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. Yeah. Wait. I see like, sure, I miss a call there. Yeah. Because, folks, I need a couple minutes at the end to make sure I play a song from my friends. Hello, good night.
Listen. Watch me. What's in here about the greetings, you know? You understand?
What's in here?
Cutting black cake. Cutting cake. And drinking black king wine in here, greetings.
Other song like all you cracking ice and all kind of thing there and plate moving and thing. Where are you?
Canada. What?
Oh,
in Canada. What's the in the house?
What's
the in the house? I just talked to him. He didn't hear about the shout outs.
Don't worry, he gave the song.
You go listen back later, man. You listen back later. You remember you're speaking on the whole perspective of tickets bought, people flying in, and all other aspects. You remember in October, ending October, November, you and I had that conversation when I told you I was privileged with some information pertaining to that. And a certain official in Canada, government official, denied it emphatically. No, that's not true. Bang, bang, bang. You know. And then about 24 hours later, I was privileged on a phone call where somebody called me and tell me just stay quiet and listen. And the person reached out and say, bro, bang, bang, and I explain. And he said, yeah, man, no problem, man. You know? Yeah, we'll set you up. You know? And they're no joke, bro. And that's what they did. No, there were people who, I don't know what is the agreement between this government and certain fractions of people in the diaspora, but there's certain people in the diaspora who are well off. Let me put it this way. It's not a regular Grenadian who working every day hard or whatever. Grenadians understand there's a lot of Grenadians in the diaspora, here in the Canada, America, England, and so, who are mighty well off. All right? They are millionaires, well off. And they had whatever arrangement with these folks. They get a ticket, they come down, them even they bring other people down with them to come down and register. And Grenadians, if Grenadians sit down, I'm talking about living Grenadians living in Grenada. I'm not talking about Grenadians that are visiting Grenada or coming and spend 2-3 months or whatever. I'm talking about the people that live and walk and breathe every day in Grenada. If they sit down and do not pay attention, no matter what part of the political sphere that you're on which side you're on, the people in the diaspora are going to decide what your life is going to be over. Which government you're going to have, what policies all you're going to fall under, and they're going to control that. Because that is the whole mindset going forward. That's the mindset going forward. I remember having a conversation with Dr. Keith Mitchell some years ago in a town hall in Brooklyn. And I brought the question to him pertaining to, is it possible for Grenadians to have what they call absentee ballots to vote again? He told me, no, that can't be. Because there is more Grenadians living outside of Grenada than in Grenada. And if that were to happen, the people abroad will form the government. And it will be unfair for the people that are living on the ground in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And I understand it right away. But that is what's happening right now. And that's what's about to happen. The point you made where people come home and then officials from the government went to the different hotels and then to read them, that is no joke. That's not a joke. That did happen.
Man, I'm telling you, I got the story from a hotel itself.
These people, they fear, what's the word I want? They fear immensely from the budget for the independence. When you go and you sit among them in certain, venues and so forth, in little gatherings, and you hear them brag about it. How much they get just by introducing so and so to so and so. Come on, if you guys really sit down and do an in-depth research in the budget for the independence, you will find out not one Grenadian company feared from that budget for the drone show and all those things. Look in depth, dig deeper.
My goodness.
All right, dig deeper. That's what you're gonna find out. You see all the companies here saying that not paying taxes and all of that. That's not a joke. These people register these businesses right before independence.
Well, you see that there's a
Right
list.
before
There's a list
independence.
that they can give, and they just purposely did not give. They give you 3
They wouldn't
to
give it.
throw you off descent. So they give you 3 to throw you off descent. But in one of the 3 that they give, that one should not, under the Procurement Act, under Section 17D of the Procurement Act of 2014, that company should not have qualified. There's
No.
another company that seems as though it's not even registered.
But dig deeper, dig a little bit deeper, and you realize the names that, even if the company has what they call a shadow form of registration, which means they're using a fellow Grenadian as a front. If you dig a little deeper, that person is just is a scapegoat. It's just a scapegoat. All right?
Oh boy.
And all you Grenadians have to be careful because there gonna be people coming down. Them gonna know. Okay, let me ask you a question. If people came down in February to register, right? How long does that registration period last for before they're not eligible to vote?
I'm trying to
How
understand
long
the
is that
question.
period?
I didn't capture the
Okay.
question properly.
Okay, so they come down and they register. This is a question somebody's asking me to find out. That is what I'm asking. So let's say I want to come in Grenada today, tomorrow, and I register as a Grenadian, register, make me eligible to vote.
Yeah.
Does that have an expiration date? Does it?
Well,
Or
no,
does it
you
just,
must.
Are you eligible up until
No.
election, whenever the election is called?
Okay, let me put it like this. If you leave and you come down now to register, you have been within the state of Grenada within the last 12 months, isn't it? Because the first thing is that you have to be able to register to somewhere that you are usually there within a 12-month period.
A 12-month period,
If you have not been to Grenada for the last 5 years, then where are you saying that you have been living for the last 12 months to register?
Okay.
And that's
Now,
part of the qualification.
do you know there's people in Grenada that is creating what they call track record, like for instance, create a bill.
Yeah,
go
they're
to
giving them bills.
flow, whatever, and they're giving them fictitious information. So when they come out, they can say, well, I was here last 6 months ago, and within such period of time, and here's my last phone bill, and so forth.
Well, there's a talk there as well, because there's part of it that says either the person has to be there, living constantly, not leaving, during a 12-month period. So the person has to be there.
12-month period.
That's one interpretation. The other interpretation is once the person has spent some time there within the last 12 months. Yeah?
Right.
But I tend to take the first interpretation because it would mean that the person is actually living there. They have a bill. They could say, well, okay, I pay electricity here, I pay water here, etc. I live here. This is where I'm living. Because there's also a situation where you find, for instance, in the south of the island, you have a lot of people that technically don't really live in the south. They come down on a Monday and they stay in the south because they
leave
work
on a Friday.
They work here, and on a Friday evening when they finish work, they gone up country, and as they say, they go
Go
home.
up country, yeah.
Their
They're going
mail,
home.
their mail, and all of that. It goes not to where they live in the south. It goes to up country.
Yeah,
that's
the
where all
permanent
they
resident.
build, all
The
they
place
build
of
the
permanent
documents.
resident.
Right. So that's where everything goes. That's their mailing address. But
Right.
they're
So
renting
now,
a little
go
place
ahead.
downtown. They're renting a little place downtown because they're working in town, and it's easier for them to live in town than to find transport and go up to country every day. So they tend to stay down. Now those persons should not be registered in the south. They
In the
actually have to
south.
be
And
registered
that is what's
in
happening.
the other area. But some
That
of
is
them have
happening.
been changing their registration to the south and different areas
Yep.
where they're staying, where they're really temporarily staying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Yeah.
longer
Where they
discussion.
get to it is. And these are the things that folks have to really pay attention to. I mean, if you are a member or if you're a supporter, if you are a supporter of either the two prominent parties in Grenada, NMP or NDC, and you have a sense of democracy, true democracy, if your party is siphoning the election, it should concern you. It should concern you because they are basically depriving you as a Grenadian of certain things. All right? Every vote have to count. And every registered voter have to be recognized. All right? And when these things happen, Grenada is becoming a Trump government. And there's a lot of people don't want to watch news and don't pay attention to news.
And wait.
And I keep saying to folks.
I had to get 30 seconds because you know how to play the song and how to go.
And you have to go. My point is
9:56.
we need politics play an intricate part in every aspect of our life, and news is what keep us grounded in every frame of our life. Grenadian, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, have a good night. Bro, we talk tomorrow.
All right,
Peace
my brother.
out.
Bless. Yes, indeed. Only hear it again. The people out there boasting how they get money and they get ticket and they get place to stay. They out there boasting. Yet still, it is not in keeping with normal procedure. Yeah, it's not in keeping. Yeah, we understand. It's not in keeping with normal procedure. Yeah, so like we stupid. We don't know. Folks, that's all the time for Talking Points tonight. That is all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. And of course, we'll be back on tomorrow night. And as I told you, there are several things because I want to go in depth this time. As I said, I've been skirting the issue before. I want to go in depth tomorrow in relation to the telecoms bill. And there are two other issues that I want to briefly touch on tomorrow night. So we will be starting on time tomorrow night. It is going to be Talking Points. Folks, in everything you say, everything you do, do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you and definitely not about you. And we play this one here for Mr. Watts, for you and for Mr. Tafawa Pierre. I say both of you should be out to dinner tonight with all your wife and thing, but you go get it afterwards. Folks, I am out of here. Remember to like and share the program.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Ooh, everywhere. You're not getting older, only getting better, only getting sweeter. I know so much wiser. This is your day. This is your day. This is your day. This is your day. Like fine wine maturing, so pure, sure and sparkling. It's so reassuring to know someone so loving. This is your day. This is your day. This is your day. This is your day. Happy birthday to you. May all your wishes come true, my darling. Happy birthday to you. Long life.